It is now the time that we all wait for with such great anticipation. This is the moment where we all become smarter because we listen to this man. That is none other than number 68, the superstar Mike Morris, on his very own podcast named Starstruck.
Funny how I name things. I was going to go with Starbucks, Star Trek, Star Wars. I just didn't feel like it was original enough, though. So I went with Starstruck. Actually, my daughter Allison came up with it. Good job. First thing I said to her, hey, what do I call the podcast? I wanted to start off with like Star or something, Star, Superstar or something. She goes, how about Starstruck? Right off the top of her head. I went, good. Boom. That sounds good.
Yes. So the others, you may have had a little copyright problems.
Might have. I thought I was the first one to ever think up Starbucks. But then I looked it up and it was taken.
Yeah.
Now, Star Wars, I thought, surely I can get Star Wars. It just kept happening over and over again where I wasn't getting what I wanted and just not knowing that they were already taken, of course. And so Starstruck, thanks to my daughter Allison, I am very happy with the Starstruck podcast. Now, a lot of the content on the Starstruck podcast can be adventurous. And in fact, we've told you the story. I have told you the story several times about shooting a crossbow and having the arrow itself go through my garage and into another man's house. And I promised you that I would have the guy in if he was good enough, kind enough to want to get in the same car with me and come in and do the podcast. He agreed to that for next week. So we will have, I'm not going to say his name. I don't know if he wants me to say his name or not, but I will just say Tom will be in. Tom will be in next week, so you wouldn't want to miss next week's episode of Starstruck. Okay, you don't want to miss it because I don't know what he's going to say. It could be anything, and I would deserve it. I would deserve anything. But anyway, that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the draft. The draft went down. A lot of things to talk about. Maybe not who we got so much, because we all know that they're college players trying to become professional players. We don't really know if any of them are going to be a success. We just don't. You put a helmet on them, and you hope that Donovan Jackson can be a great left guard someday. And he's got a lot to live up to. You got a Randall McDaniel left guard and a Steve Hutchinson left guard. Good luck hanging on to good luck trying to fall in line with those guys. But we were talking before the show began about the way that they went about it that kind of surprised all of us in the way they went about it. And Jim, it was a big surprise. They took it straight across the board.
Yes, and they went in with basically 4 picks and only one in the first round and then nothing until late third round. So we were all assuming that General Manager Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah would backpedal, load up on some other assets, and settle a little deeper into the first round. And then the Vikings could restock their war chest quicker and easier, and hopefully with a more quality player. But
not so much.
He stuck right to where he was. And the interesting thing is, he obviously won't tell us if he was offered a king's ransom for his spot at 24. But the two teams afterwards traded back. So there had to be people knocking on the door at 24 saying, hey, we want your spot. And one of the teams even picked up a future first rounder for backpedaling in the draft. So
that's incredible.
Yeah. Atlanta paid a super high price to move up in the draft. So I don't know what that says. What does that say to you? Because before, Kwesi was a real wheeler dealer. Like the first year, all he did was trade back. And it was just like, are we ever going to make a pick? You know?
But his idea, I guess it may have changed. Maybe not, but it may not have been the kind of year where he was finding that much value for his 24th overall pick, where he could pick up 2 quality players. And if you don't see them on your list as being quality players, and you know that they're probably going to go before that happens anyway, then why would you do it? It can become 2 for 1. You know, trade one off, get 2 decent players, If you need to have the numbers, the sheer numbers to fill up your camp, it's a good idea. If it's not there, it's not there. I mean, it's not smoke and mirrors. If it's not there, you're better off just sticking tight, not getting cute with it, and going straight number 24 overall and getting a great player like Donovan Jackson from Ohio State. And he was so good. I thought that when I watched the national championship game, he stuck out to me. I was watching him because he looked good, and I was, who is that big kid, a left tackle, left guard? I think he was playing left tackle in that game. But
yeah, he had to switch during the season.
Yeah, in between.
Because somebody got injured.
And I saw him and I thought, wow, good feet. Really good feet. He had good recoverability. Someone got off to the outside quicker, and he got caught up and got his hands on him and just kind of ushered him past the quarterback. I'm like, woo, that was good. That was pretty good. So anyway, that's who we got. But it's the order that I think is intriguing, because Kwesi can do a lot of things that we would maybe not do. It happens. The Jacksonville Jaguar general manager, 34-year-old kid, is just going crazy right now with the different picks and the different selections and the different ways he goes about doing things, right? Letting everything ride on one thing. He's panned out pretty good with a lot of them, though. But that's what our guy is. I mean, Kwesi can just kind of make you scratch your head for a while, and then, like for me, in the middle of the season when he picked up Cam Robinson to come back in and actually fill for Christian Darrisaw, I thought that was a good move. It ended up being a pretty good move for a left tackle. Yeah. So yeah,
very good. Well, what it says to me, and I want to see if you have the same thought process on this, is that the Vikings said at the end of the season, after they lost, that they said the interior defensive line has to be addressed and the offensive line has to be addressed. And so this appears to be in cement, because if you're getting calls for a first rounder and you say, no, look, that's the offensive lineman we need. We are not done building this offensive line. Even though we got some great pieces in free agency, this is not up to the standard that we need to get it to. We need this kid here. And so they said, stop calling. We're not moving because our kid is sitting there and we're taking him.
If speculating, if he had not been on the board still, if Jackson hadn't been on the board still, do you think they might have entertained calls?
I think so.
It tells you that that's the one they want, and that's the player of need as much, and availability as well, is that he's sitting right there and we're not going to budge until we find ourselves with a new left guard. And if that was the guy you had pegged all along, and he did, I think, move up one in the ranking from the 4 guards, the best left guards in the draft, he was selected at 3rd guard overall, left guard at that position. So that was good. They must have had him in mind, because there was another player considered better than him by ranking, but they took him instead. So, and I thought he would look great in the national championship game. I thought he looked really good, but that goes to show you that sometimes it is absolutely a player of need and availability. I think in this case that was what it was. And if anyone's happy about it, it's me, because I thought they had been trying to retread this thing for the last 7 or 8 years. Where and when are we going to finally pick some kids and get this thing stockpiled with new kids of our own choice, and have them work out? I know that Bradbury was one of those. We've seen it happen before in the past where they made a go at it, and not necessarily have it pan out. But I think it's getting closer now.
Well, just to prove that they weren't going to just go with the retread, is that they had a capable center in Bradbury.
Yeah.
And they said, no, that's not good enough. We're blowing this guy out, and we're going to go with a different guy. And went and brought in another guy, spent the money, and then jettisoned Bradbury. So
it's amazing.
I think.
Where did Bradbury end up again?
New England.
New England, okay.
Yep. So my question is, are the Vikings changing their offensive philosophy? Because of is the game evolving? Because you remember a couple of years ago, Dalvin Cook couldn't get a quarter to sign anywhere, and he was one of the best backs coming off a great season, and nobody wanted him. And Saquon Barkley was $5, right? But now, because of the way the game has gone, the way the Eagles are showing everybody,
there you go.
Now that's like, this is a meat league now. And we have to be as monstrous as possible on the line and have capable backs.
And when has that not ever worked? When has that not ever worked? Who in the world was buying the cheap Kool-Aid and drinking the Kool-Aid with the running game's gone by the wayside? It'll always be a passing game. Are you out of your mind? There's no way you can survive as a team or in the National Football League with a winning record only passing the ball and not having a great setup running back to go to. There's no way that can happen. And for that trend to even come through, and it did, it was a real thing for a while where the running back was just sort of, we can turn anyone into a running back. We can get by with this. We've got a couple guys in camp right now on developmental. We can move them up right now. And just for the money, we can get it done. Who in the world thought that was ever going to happen? Not me. Because I mean, and it will go the Eagles' way, and it's always been this way with the Dallas Cowboys in the early 90s, and with any of the really great teams in the past, it's always set up by a great running game and a physical offensive line. And that's the Eagles are a perfect example of what was the old Dallas line. The one with Nate Newton and Stepnoski and Larry Allen and Eric Wright, those guys. That's what they've got with the Eagles right now. Big, mean. They're a little bit mean and edgy and squirrely, and that's exactly what you want. I mean, you remember when Zimmer used to talk about it. I want my offensive lineman to have a mean streak.
So what I'm saying is that the Vikings are going to be what Mike Zimmer wanted them to be.
Guess what? He was saying all along, with a back,
he was part of those Dallas teams, so he saw it firsthand.
That's a good point. I mean, he absolutely was right there trying to defend against that in practice. No way. He knew better, and he wanted that too. And there's no question that Emmitt Smith is the leading rusher of all time because of that offensive line. I mean, I know he was good. I know he was a good player, a great player, tough player, but would he have had 18,000 plus yards and passed Walter Payton if it had not been for that offensive line? Because Payton did it without an offensive line. But needless to say, that's exactly what Mike Zimmer was trying to get done all along, and no one was buying into it. They were retreading it with offensive linemen. He can do it. He can do it. Well, no, he can't.
Well, because the philosophy was, well, why do I have to do all this to go 5 yards when I could just flip it to a wide receiver, a tight end, and boom, there's my 5 yards, quick and easy.
If you want to pass it, if you want to do the short passing game and call it your running game, fine, but they're on to that. They already know you're not going to. It shows so easily, but the personnel you have in the game, the way you set up at the line of scrimmage, the way the offensive linemen set their hands, the way they sit in their stance or don't, or their back, that they're going to pass block. You see it. It's a tell. It's a straight tell. So if you have a decent enough line, and that's what people were doing, just getting good, quick, mobile linebackers to play that over the top passing game, and that was nullified, and so they came back to the run. Funny. You can put 8 guys in the box, you put 9 guys in the box, and still have a great running game. If you have those kind of offensive linemen, you can. But so finally, we're going to maybe get one. We've got a couple good running backs now who could actually prove that to be the case. And now, if we just can get through the season with a quarterback that can play quarterback, that'd be great too.
Well, and it also takes the pressure off of him.
Yeah,
right?
It would.
It's not going to be, he's going to have to throw 45 times a game for the Vikings to have a chance. And so what I think, I remember a couple of Starstruck episodes back. You can look them up, listeners. And the one where we were talking about what it takes for a team to win a Super Bowl. Right? Was that just last week?
All right. Our crack staff just said it was last week, so we'll go on that.
All right. We'll believe them this time, but usually you don't believe them. But we were talking about the character and what a team needs. Well, this is another way to get it done. This, in addition to the character, everything we said last week is 1,000%, or what you said last week, because you were the game, I'm not, was 1,000% true. But now, this is the first time in a long time where I have seen the Vikings set themselves up to be a team of bruisers, to be a team that's physically going to beat you up on Sunday, whether we pass the ball once or 100 times. We now, this is, if it's all plans out the way it looks on paper, this looks like a team that'll say, "Oh, McCarthy's only going to throw it 5 times today. What are you going to do about it?"
Well, I mean, he's going to run the ball a lot behind a big, tough, mean offensive line that's going to run up and down the field on you and run all the clock off and tear your defensive lineman up and not let him want to even rush the passer in the fourth quarter. So if he wants to step back and drop, your guys are dead by that time. They've been leaned on too much. And guess what? You tip your rear end up in the air and you're going to blow some grass up out of your cleats and come and get the pass rush? No, you're not. No, you're not. You're dead on your ass. That's what you're doing. You're dead. You're going to sit there and lean into that big offensive lineman, and that's what you're going to call your pass rush. And it's not there. So JJ could probably have some decent success in the fourth quarter if he wanted to. And I think it's the ultimate way that you play the game of football, is that you run the ball first and set up everything off that. It always has worked. Any time, any decade, any generation, if you will, of quarterbacks that have been through this have gone to Super Bowls and won Super Bowls based on running game. 2 teams are the exception, the 85 Bears and the 2000 Ravens, all defense. Not that the 85 Bears didn't have some offense, but the defense was just lights out. So, I mean, Jim McMahon and Walter Payton and Willie Gault and all those guys, that was a good team. It was a good team. Good offensive line for the Bears that year.
Right. So my question to you is, this seem like a more consistent, solid plan versus drafting more wide receivers and, a scat back, and we're going just flip it out all the time? It seems like this could be a more consistent attack week after week after week through a 17-week season.
There's any doubt in my mind that you have no business really drafting all the flash and all the glitz and glamour and all the receivers you want, and even the running backs, the quarterbacks, the tight ends, everything that's looking great in shoulder pads and really super fast. Don't even do that. You can't pass it on your back. You can't throw the ball on your back. When you have grass stain up and down your rear end all day, someone's been hitting you, or you've been running for your life and you're under duress and you can't throw within rhythm of the passing game that you deploy. So forget it. You get the big guys first. Now you have the protection. Now those guys that have all the speed and the quarterback that can throw and he's accurate can do those things. And that's the direction we've gone in. To answer the question, is that the good, consistent, solid plan? I've thought so all along. I wanted them to do that starting after my bunch broke up, and it basically was still Burke and Hutchinson and a couple of big tackles too, though. What was his name from Oklahoma? Great big guy, Lode Holt.
Oh yeah, yep.
Okay,
yep.
And McKenzie, right? So some big guys. They were big, but and Hutchinson was all world, right?
Of course.
Burke was a good center. But look, they needed to start then, and they waited too long. And they fell behind like 3 or 4 offensive linemen. And injuries, I don't know where these injuries started popping up, but like everyone that was supposed to be someone was getting hurt. A rolled ankle, concussion. That never happened. That never used to happen. So that boils down to who's training these guys, what is the preventive maintenance. I've said it over and over and over again. And it boils down to the weight room and off-season training. You're only as good as your last off-season training, period. And if you're going to make it through 17 games, sorry, kids, I'm that old.
At least it's not 14.
Yeah, at least it's not 14. And Mr. Foreman will be in later. Then that's what you get. That's what you get. You have injuries up and down the field. So I don't know what they're doing down there. I just haven't checked in on the strength and conditioning part of it. Maybe I should. But this was solid. This was a solid draft in that he stayed true to his game. He got a nice offensive lineman, looking good. Only looking good in college, though. Doesn't mean you're looking good in the pros. Put on the helmet, show us that you can do it in the pros. Stay healthy, Christian Darrisaw. Please try and stay healthy, because he's as good as they get. He's as good a left tackle as you'll find if he stays out there. So I like the draft. Overall, I like the draft. Just with that one pick, I liked it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You talk about preventative maintenance and make sure you have a consistent plan. Well, anytime you're doing something around the homestead, there's a place that you need. It's like having a giant offensive line with you when you go to this specific place or places.
There's a lot of places, but there's really just one family. The Polici family have 4 Ace Hardware stores in Zumbrota and in Farmington and Rosemount and Egan. And you can stop by any of those, and Polici's will absolutely be there to help you. 30 years in the business, they will help you because Ace is the place with the helpful hardware folks.
Said it.
And I just said that. And look, they can do it. Stop in. Don't be, a marauding lion, a bumbling fool, walking through being a numbskull like me, trying to put paint together and thinking more along the lines of Bob Ross and not thinking, what am I really going to put on the wall that's going to look right? Watercolors won't work. I've found that out. Finger painting won't work. I've done that. It looks more like cave art. Like
hieroglyphics.
Yeah. Really old stuff.
Cave art.
They'll match the paint up for you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Don't make it hard. Just get in there and let them help you out with it. They also have the lines of power tools that you'll need to put the deck together and new steps on the deck and God knows whatever else you got going around your house this spring. They've got $30 off select DeWalt tools and $20 of the select Craftsman tools, all 20 volt that they can help you out with. Get down to Ace Hardware Store, Polici's Ace Hardware Store, Zumbrota, Farmington, Rosemount, and Egan. Tell them Superstar Mike Morris sent you. Do that.
Yeah, because crap is going to break at your house.
Yeah.
You're not going to get through the year crap free.
No.
So mitigate the crap.
Yeah, I mean, crap hits the fan, right? Doesn't it?
It does.
I mean, there's a lot of things that hit the fan. I mean, crossbow arrows. Anything can be in your wall. So don't put up with that crap. Find a way to fix it. Do it the right way. Get down to Ace Hardware Store and be ahead of the crap.
And you know,
that's well said, isn't it?
Yes.
That's a
better slogan than
great
helpful hardware phone.
So much easier to say.
Yes.
I need help in here.
Get ahead of the crap.
Just get ahead of the crap, for God's sakes. Do it. Superstar Mike Morris said so. And?
You know, sometimes you need to get there quickly because you're like, I got to fix this before someone gets back to the homestead. So I need to not dawdle and have the car not start in the driveway.
Dawdle.
Yes.
There you go. There it is. Yeah, that was good.
So
here's the thing. So I know where you're going.
How do you solve that problem?
Easy. Let the good people at Ace Hardware help you out with the trash compactor. They'll fix that, no trouble. I'll help you also by saying drive past the trash compactors of the world, known as every other car dealership in the state of Minnesota, outside of Dodge of Burnsville. So just run on down to Dodge of Burnsville. If you have to run, if you don't have a car or truck, run down there. 35W Cliff Road, run down. Put a high thumb up in the air and hitchhike your way down there, and let's get this thing done. Dodge of Burnsville, 35W, Cliff Road, Mark Saba, Adam Saba, great service department, but ask for those two guys, and they'll take good care of you. They will absolutely take care of you. They have a huge inventory down there. Go down and pick any color, any make, any model, new or used, and you'll walk out happy. Guarantee you that. Get down there, Superstar Mike Morris said so, Dodge of Burnsville.
So, circling back to the main point of the conversation, are you endorsing the plan that Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah appears to be installing for the Vikings offense moving forward?
If it looks anything like what we see on paper, it looks like he's going to go for bully ball. It looks like bully ball coming, which is fine. That is all the great teams play bully ball. From the old Raiders and that offensive line with the Killer Lawrence, Henry the Killer Lawrence,
Otis Sistrunk,
I don't care, Lyle Alzado, Howie Long, all those guys. That big offensive line was pretty mean. Very Art Shell,
yes,
mean. Dave Dalby, Jim Otto. Come on, y'all. That's what we want to try and get. I don't even have to keep naming that, but the great Packer teams, the great Pittsburgh Steelers teams of the 70s all had bona fide great offensive linemen across the board, tackle to tackle. So if that's what he's doing, A+ from me. If that's what they hold true to, that gives the kid, J.J. McCarthy, the best chance to be successful, I think. That's my thought. And your thought? I mean, are you in on this?
I like it. I mean, I always bought into Zimmer's plan. It didn't mesh with what Rick Spielman wanted, and the two went their separate ways at the end because, Zimmer was outspoken. He didn't want to spend all that money on Kirk Cousins. He wanted to spend it on depth in his defense because his starters were basically, Pro Bowlers, but he didn't have the depth, and he wanted a bigger offensive line and a bigger running game. And he could get by with a marginal quarterback. He did not think that you should put all your eggs in that quarterback basket where you're spending $60 million of your salary cap.
And your deferred money too. Your deferred money also. It doesn't really allow you the future to be able to select someone. If you have all the money tied up for the next 2 or 3 years, that narrows the window down even more with what kind of player you can pull in then after you get the great quarterback. Well, maybe you look at the top offensive lineman free agent from the NFL. You won't be able to afford him.
Right.
And same as the draft.
Well, look at how much the Vikings have been able to buy the last 2 years without Kirk Cousins' contract. Look at all the stars they picked up. Grenard, Van Ginkel, Cashman. Just boom, boom, boom.
That's true.
3 Pro Bowlers right there. Right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate. Yeah, that's so true. My God, please help me with his last name. I always mess this guy's name up. Number 44. Just please help me.
Chuck Foreman.
Chuck Foreman. That's it. Gosh darn it. I knew it was easy. Oh, God.
Josh Metellus?
Metellus. That's the guy. He's the utility guy that can play almost anything, and he's very good. He's a rover. It's like the old Michigan Wolverine rover. I mean, that guy can flow like water. And Van Ginkel, he's my hero. That's all there is to it. But that's all the time we've got. We can call everybody heroes. I'm the biggest hero, I'm sure, right here in my own mind. And I would like to thank Jim Rich, who is also a very close second to me, as far as a very distant second, actually, in being my hero. But anyway, that's good enough, though, Jim. Don't worry about that. So I'd like to thank Jim Rich, and for myself, Superstar Mike Morris, and Brady Moeller, also known as the Crack Staff. Goodbye. Starstruck next week, same time, same place, and look out. The guy's coming in that I shot the arrow into his house. He's going to come in and tell that part of the story. So you wouldn't want to miss it on Starstruck next week.